related to PPE, life-saving, for me, it's actually a murder. Because if health workers work without PPE, we're risking.
Shervin Majlessi is Chief of Section for the Corruption and Economic Crime Branch of the UN Office on Drugs and Crime, and he joins us now live from Vienna. Welcome to the programme, sir. And we've just seen in that report, and I read from the UN, that they say the COVID-19 pandemic has created enormous opportunities for corruption to thrive. Why is that?
Well, thank you very much for having me. As we just heard, in response to COVID-19 pandemic, countries around the world have made massive financial investments in the public health sector and in the launch of emergency support packages and economic safety nets to offset economic and social consequences of the pandemic, whether they rush out with procurement for medical equipment and PPE, or with emergency support packages like direct cash disbursements, short and medium-term forgivable loans, and deferment of payments, as well as tax rebates. In all these cases, the pandemic has generated unprecedented opportunities for corruption, often at these times where there is lax oversight and there may be even lower capacity for law enforcement action in countries. So
given that possibility of lax capacity, how do you police this, and can you?
Already back in April, my office, UN Office on Drugs and Crime, put out a policy brief on accountability and prevention of corruption in the allocation and disbursement and distribution of emergency economic rescue packages in the context and aftermath of COVID-19 pandemic. There are several types of actions that can be adopted. As the UN Secretary General has already said, we are calling for recovering with integrity a diverse range of actors, including members of parliaments, policymakers, anti-corruption bodies, civil society, private sector, and the media have to be involved. There has to be clear, objective, and transparent criteria for the qualification of intended beneficiaries and recipients of assistance. And countries have to account for the risk and vulnerabilities in this area. There has to be clear communication and outreach channels to raise awareness and understanding of beneficiaries, the public. We have to make sure that procurement processes are clean and that there is clear who's getting the contracts.
Mr. Majlessi, I just want to jump in because with regards to procurement of the vaccine, we've been speaking earlier on the program about how poorer countries may not be able to get this. Dr. Tedros earlier, he's called corruption related to PPE a murder. Do you expect there to be corruption with the distribution, the procurement of vaccines around the world, especially to poorer countries?
It's unfortunately not that we expect anymore. This has already happened, not only in the case of the vaccine, but all other kind of aspects of response to COVID-19. As we heard in your report, just this week, there were reports in Indonesia of the social affairs minister being accused and now arrested for corruption related to COVID-19, and South Africa starting investigations on several cases. So there is definitely opportunities for more cases of corruption also in relation to distribution of the vaccine.
Now, a lot of people watching our show at home, many people have been spending hours and hours, days and days, months and months at home online with less face-to-face interactions. So from this new normal, being and working from home, what risks do they have now with regards to corruption?
Well, apart from the bigger risk of corruption, which affects everyone in the society that we talked about, at the individual level also, there is more opportunities for risk to individuals. Just as people have started working remotely and online, criminals have also turn to working more online and remotely. There is an increased risk of online fraud. We collected some information from G20 countries, and here we are talking about countries with more advanced governance infrastructure. And they reported detecting sale of fraudulent or substandard personal protective equipment, sale of fake COVID-19 tests and treatments, phishing campaigns concealing the identities of companies, charities, and other organizations, and fraudulent use of credit and debit card data and network attacks. And there has been also online scams, including some related to emergency unemployment insurance, designed to defraud victims by convincing them to send money to accounts controlled by criminals.
Lots of worry and concerns there. Thank you so much for sharing the issues we're still facing with regards to corruption this year. Shervin Majlessi, Chief of Section for the Corruption and Economic Crime Branch of the UN Office on Drugs and Crime. Thank you.